Hey everybody, it's Pete. Good morning. Welcome to a new episode of Stocks for Breakfast. Today we got a lot to talk about. More specifically, in today's video, obviously one of the biggest questions we have are about which stocks to buy, when should we be buying those stocks. And if you're a regular viewer of the channel, you know that we are crazy about being prepared, crazy about being ready for next year. So in today's video, I'm actually going to walk you through my end of year process and show you exactly how we review what happened during the year, what worked, what didn't work, and then how we actually learn from what worked and what didn't work, and put ourselves in a position to buy stocks in a way that we have the ultimate conviction, where we don't hesitate, we know exactly what we're doing, we know how to script out our success, and that translates into seeing your account go like this when you're actually following the plan. Having the plan and following the plan is not the same thing. Today, I'm also going to give you a trading plan template. It's actually, you can fill it out, download it, print it, however you want to do it. It's from my years of trading, and it's actually the same trading plan template that I used when I owned my trading firm in New York City. It's step by step. It's a whole long document. I'll give you the link to that in just 1 second. So stick around. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. We got some really good stuff planned for you today. But remember, everything we talk about in these videos, educational purposes, it's up to you to make that final decision. So what I want to do is I want to hop on over to the screen. First, we're actually going to talk about Tesla, and we're going to do a deep dive into Tesla and what happened yesterday. Yesterday, Tesla traded into what's known as a bullish engulfing candlestick. Now, remember, we talk a lot about the difference between momentum and trend trading. Yesterday, Tesla, in the context of basically a 4-week bearish order flow, traded into a pretty strong bullish momentum reversal. So you got to make the difference between momentum and order flow. Right now, the order flow is just 1 day, so that 1 day is really more momentum. However, it's pretty significant. And I'm going to point out why. I'm going to explain it first, and then I'm going to point out what it actually looks like on the chart. Generally speaking, most, if not all, people who are swing trading or getting involved in the market typically use yesterday's high and yesterday's low as levels for entry prices as well as stop losses. So what ends up happening is if you have a candlestick here and you take out the previous day's high, more often than not, percentage above that or whatever it happens to be, that's usually where traders will end up entering positions. And you take that same candlestick, and just below the low of that candlestick, that's generally speaking somewhere on the chart is an area where a stop loss will be placed. And sometimes they're very common. You actually hear sometimes rookie traders say the algos were out to get me. Trust me, the algos are not out to get you. The market makers are not out to get you. The specialists are not out to get you. They have plenty of other real world things to be dealing with than our stop losses. Trust me. The only time that maybe you might get stopped out like that if it's super light volume, but you probably shouldn't be trading when there's super light volume anyway. Anyway, the point that I want to make is we just established those 2 reference points, right? You need to know your significant reference points. Well, when the lows get taken out, we just said a lot of selling ends up happening, both getting out of long positions that people bought the stock and early short sellers. But when a stock takes out the low and takes out the high and closes above the high, that's known as a bullish engulfing candlestick. And it's usually a pretty powerful pattern to see the stock, at least in the short term, rally up in that direction. Now, Tesla has actually had bearish order flow for the last several weeks, and yesterday traded into a bullish engulfing candlestick after 3 different bullish U-turns failed. So yesterday's a pretty big deal. So we're going to take a look at the Tesla chart, and then we're going to work our way over into other electric vehicle stocks. Then I'm going to actually show you this, so to give you a little bit of a preview of this. This is actually what we're going to be doing tonight in our coaching session, and we're going to break this down in a little bit more detail. So we're going to hop on over to Tesla. We're going to talk about Tesla. I'm going to actually zoom out. I'm going to remove the volume here. And this is the candlestick that I'm talking about. So you can see the bearish order flow in Tesla here going on for a while. And you can see yesterday's price action. And if I bring this down here, took out, that's the previous day's low. And you can see Tesla broke that low. And here is the previous day's high, which is right there. So Tesla yesterday, in the context of this bearish order flow, dating back from where this double top happened, let me actually put that back in there. That's why we drew that in there. Basically, that's the level we were looking for. It punched up and came back. So whether you say it started here or here, I would be more inclined to say it started here, basically at the beginning of the month. So let's say 3 weeks worth of selling. So 3 weeks worth of selling, plus all the other electric vehicle stocks have kind of been stuck in the mud as well. This is a pretty big deal. When I say that it took out the previous day's low and took out the high, generally speaking, short sellers, and in this case here, they're not really early short sellers because it's been going down for 3 weeks. Short sellers will see this candlestick and get short and look for this to continue pushing down. When that does go down, they have conviction. But remember, a lot of what we talk about is, if this happens, then I plan to do this. If this goes down, then I'm going to feel comfortable. If it goes down and reverses, I'm like, no, it's not what's supposed to happen. So in this case here, it reversed. Now, if you're a short seller, you're like, I'm really got to be on top of my toes when that closes yesterday. But actually, you're in a worse position right now if you didn't spot this yesterday, because you could see here, Tesla's actually up $36, almost $36.50, all the way up to $9.75, which is taking it all the way up into this area over here. So now, how powerful is this pattern? Well, it happened here as well. It started this move to the downside from 1,180 down to almost 890. So that's a big move. That right there is a bearish engulfing candlestick that saw this push all the way down. Now, if you remember, I just said bullish U-turns, and I want to drag in the 50-period moving average here because it's a pretty significant level. Now, if you remember, I just want to make sure that I give you the language because I want you to be able to take it to the charts that you're watching. A bullish U-turn is different from a bullish engulfing candlestick. They're both opportunities to buy stocks, but they mean something different. A bullish engulfing candlestick, and I'm just going to point them out in the chart, and I'm going to come back here right here. So this is a bullish engulfing candlestick. A bullish U-turn. This is a bullish U-turn. This is a bullish U-turn. Now, this one and this one both happened at the 50-period moving average, which is a pretty significant level. If you're a regular viewer of the channel, you know every day we talk about that 50-period simple moving average is the last line in the sand where I'll be like, all right, I'll still look to buy it there if we see some signs of life, but because it's below the 20 and right at that last level, that would mean reduced position size. So over here, let me just zoom out again. This was a bullish U-turn at the 50, and it rallied the next 3 days. This, not by much, though. We had melted candle again. Then we pulled back and tried to hold the 50 again. So we've actually been talking about in the community that Tesla is kind of like hanging on by a thread to that 50-period moving average. And we actually kind of see the same exact thing in Lucid. If you don't think that this is important, look at how Lucid is dancing right around that 50-period moving average as well, right? So bullish U-turn, tried to rally, couldn't hold it. Bullish U-turn, didn't even rally the next day. Got below the 50, and another bullish U-turn, rallied one day, and heavy selling came in. 3 different times the stock tried to rally and couldn't hold it. So what does that mean? We know that on YouTube, we know all of this, that we got YouTube maniacs, and there's nothing wrong with that. People just, Tesla maniacs. Everybody who loves Tesla loves it almost like it's a religion. It's amazing to see somebody have that much passion about something, and it's not good, it's not bad, it just is. So if I'm looking to be a buyer of Tesla and it's beyond that 50-period moving average, so now it's in short-term bearish territory, short-term because it just broke. The previous bullish U-turn failed. The second bullish U-turn failed. The third bullish U-turn failed. So now we have a gigantic bullish engulfing candlestick, which took out the lows and took out the highs. A little bit more significant, for lack of a better way of putting it. And I want to point out why, because I want you to be able to use this. And Sal's asking a good question here. What makes this a bullish U-turn? So if we go into the chart here, this bullish U-turn, we're looking for it after bearish momentum, which means well-offered candlestick. So remember, when we talk about bearish momentum, we use the terminology well-offered. So that means lower lows, lower highs, and best case scenario, also closing near the lows. But the bullish U-turn is also well-offered, but there's a difference. It traded down, traded below the previous candlestick, rallied back up, closed above the open, which makes it green, which means bullish today, and closed above the previous day's low. That's a reversal of momentum. So let's take a look. And now we got the definition. We can take a look at the difference between the two. So you can see right here, bearish momentum, lower highs, lower lows. This candlestick right here pushed below this candle, came back, closed above the open, closed above the previous low. Same thing over here. Bearish momentum. This candlestick is well offered. This candlestick, this bullish U-turn, traded here, rallied back, closed above the open, and closed above the previous low. Same exact thing here. But you'll notice this one did not follow through. This one followed through one day and saw selling again. This one followed through. So this one followed through 2 days. This one followed through 0 days. This one followed through 1 day and got hammered again. Now, what's significant about this is that it took out the low and it took out the high. And now we are looking to break this 3-week move to the downside. And we have some validation from the stock itself that the last time it had a bearish engulfing candlestick where it took out the high and it took out the low, we got follow through for the next 3 weeks. So how does that set up a trade in Tesla today? So remember, every day we talk about building the argument. Give me reasons. How many reasons can I find to want to be a buyer of Tesla stock today? That's the first reason. So now if you remember, we talked about NVAX a couple of days ago. I believe it was on Monday. We came into the day talking about NVAX, momentum stock, a lot of things going on in that, but we need to read the tape. So reading the tape, we said when the market opens in NVAX on Monday, it needs to gap higher, which it did, and hold that price. It needs to hold the gap higher and trade higher. So if we take a look at the SPY from yesterday, go to the SPY ETF, we had a big bullish gap yesterday from here to here. And actually, you know what? I just want to make sure you have the language right because so many people get this wrong. A gap is not simply a higher opening or a lower opening. A gap means it opened outside of yesterday's high or outside of yesterday's low. I see so many new traders come into the boot camp or even here on social media where they're talking about it gapped higher, but it was still inside yesterday's candlestick. That's not, if you want to sound smart, a gap means it was outside of yesterday's range on the open. So you can see here on the SPY, and we look at this one here, yesterday's open was all the way up here, and the previous day's high was here. So that's a gap because that's where it opened, and that's the previous day's high. Now, the most important part I want to get to is this. If we're watching the market yesterday, we said that it needed to hold the gap higher. So if we move over here to yesterday's open, that's the open yesterday in the market. So if we're watching the tape yesterday and reading the tape, the first hour of the day yesterday was pretty choppy, right up until around 11:30. So now think about how this relaxes you when you're trading. If you go into the day, whether it's NVAX, the SPY, what we just talked about, and Tesla, you go into the day saying, okay, I love this bullish order flow. It's a potential reversal of this longer term 3-week bearish order flow. But when the market opens and the stock opens, I want to see it do something specific first. And here's the terminology you want to have in your head. I need to see today's order flow match the previous order flow. I want follow-up. I want more buyers to come in. Now, the question that we all have is, how do we do that? That's the million-dollar question. So what we ended up having yesterday, the first hour of the day, and this is obviously a little bit on the day trading side of things, but it works the same thing on swing trading. We do a ton of swing trading. When the market's awesome, we dialed back the swing trading a little bit over the last 3 weeks. When you have that line in the sand, and remember, you've heard me talk about it a lot here. If it's swing trading, maybe you're looking at Monday's opening price. Longer term position trade, maybe you're looking at the opening price the last time the stock had earnings. Doesn't matter what the price is. What matters is the price needs to be something you lean on and say, if it moves away from that, good. If it moves that way, I'm going to make a different decision or have a different decision. So yesterday's day trading translated into some really good opportunities after the first hour of the day, because we didn't get back up to that level that mattered. So if we're looking to trade the gap in Tesla this morning, the way that we're going to be looking at it as the day unfolds, and specifically in that first half hour, we have the bullish engulfing candlestick yesterday, which I'll pull that back up on the chart. Let me go back to that, pull it up on the daily chart. We have the bullish engulfing candlestick here from yesterday. Now we're going to have a gap higher. So as that stock gaps higher this morning, we are now going to establish that opening price. As long as Tesla is above that, and as each hour of the day unfolds, I'm going to feel comfortable with looking to build a position in Tesla, either as a day trade or a swing trade. If it gaps higher and does not stay there, then I'm not going to do anything because I need to know this is what I want. If it unfolds that way, great. If it doesn't unfold that way, then I'm not going to do anything. And I just want to make it clear because this is a pretty important point to me. We had somebody the other day, and I'm not going to say who it was. There was somebody saying that I'm only talking about in the past. And anybody could do that. Anybody could look in the past. I am so adamant that I never talk about what happened in the past. Every single thing I just said, and I want you to really hop on board with this. Every single thing I talk about in my videos, I am talking about if this happens today, then I plan to do this. If this happens this week, then I plan to do this. We talked about it on Monday, what we needed to see in NVAX to unfold on Monday, and it didn't unfold, so we did nothing. We recapped it the following day to let everybody know we did nothing. But I just want to give you a little bit of insight that what I'm trying to do every day is not armchair quarterback what happened in the past. I am trying my hardest. I want you to understand that everything we're talking about here is putting the pieces together so that when the market opens, when the week opens, it doesn't matter if you're day trading or swing trading, you have a list that says, if this happens, then I plan to do this. If this happens, then I plan to do this. If I want this to happen and that does not happen, then I plan to do nothing. That's what we try and accomplish every day in these videos, to give you ideas and stuff to look at. We call it order flow and tape reading, to understand you're not forecasting, you're building an argument based on what's most likely going to happen next. Now, the second part of that is what's most likely going to happen next. If it happens, you know what you plan to do. If it does not happen, you step back and, again, like we joke around every morning, you pour more coffee and you wait for better opportunities. That's why we say the actual trading part of trading is the easiest part of trading, because you've already scripted out what you plan to do before it happens, because you spent the time creating a trading game plan. And I hope everybody understands that. So we're just breaking this down with Tesla just a little bit more. There's obviously a couple of different ideas here in Tesla. You could trade it right back up to this level as a swing trade, which is around that 1180 level. If you want to, and this is a pretty simple way of doing it, take the previous levels of where it started and where it pushed right up around this level, the 50% retracement, which ironically is going to end up being right at the 50 period moving average, right at that level around 1,025 would end up being the next level. So you see how we just broke down Tesla in two different type trades heading into today? We just went over a bullish gap and what needs to unfold after the market opens for me to want to day trade it. Then we just mapped out the bullish U-turn typically means, the bullish engulfing candlestick means a reversal to the upside. The stock's up big this morning, but then we took it a step further and said, if we're looking to swing trade this stock, the first target in this particular scenario, it just worked out perfectly. I'll just pull it up on the screen again. The 50% retracement level from this move to this move is going to end up coinciding with the 50 period moving average, which again, pretty big, significant level. In that case, roughly 1,025. So now I'm going to challenge you on that. We're going to take that even a step further. If the likelihood of it heading back up to that 1,025 based on where it is right now is roughly 50 points, $50. Again, we don't want to put a limit on what something can do, but we need a level to justify the initial risk. If I'm going to put that first trade on, what is a likely profit target, right? And I'm going to get into that in just one more second. Well, if we know 50 is where it's likely going to go to at least accept the initial risk, now you can set up your risk reward ratio, know how much you're going to risk on the stock price in exchange for a potential $50 reward. Kind of cool how you start to put those pieces together, right? There's so much more than Tesla went up yesterday, I'm buying it. No, there's a lot more to it than that. And then you got to make a decision. Is it a day trade or is it a swing trade? Which kind of takes me into the next thing. Tonight we're having our end of year review. It's something I do personally. We're going to have it with our boot camp members, our annual master members, our swing trade members in our community. I want to give you the questions that we're having in our private meeting tonight, so you could really think things through, because this is the process that I used when I had my trading firm for years, and it works because you take the time to do it. So first, what I want to do is I'm going to pull it up on the screen and you can screenshot it. Okay, so I'm going to first pull it up here, and take a screenshot of this, because this is actually what we're going to be discussing tonight. All right. First and foremost, what absolutely did not work for you this year. Again, if you don't learn from your mistakes, you are doomed to repeat them. All right. Give detail, open the wound, feel the pain, pour salt in it. You've heard Jesse Livermore talk about it. And again, if you read Reminiscence of a Stock Operator, this is making a big list of what doesn't work. If you want to skyrocket your confidence and see your P&L start to go like this, you have to. It's imperative to stay away from what doesn't work. There has to be some things in your trading right now that you're like, wow, what am I doing? And you start to hope and pray and like, oh, I made that mistake. Make a big list of what doesn't work. That's the first thing. And I promise you, the sooner you make that big list of what definitely doesn't work and you stop doing it, that's a big thing, not the same thing, and stop doing it, you start immediately positioning yourself for the next part. Okay. Number two, what worked and resulted in the biggest improvement for you? What are you most proud of doing? And this is a part of developing a strategy. Next, if everything works out perfectly in 2022, what does your trading look like? Now, this is an important question. What does your trading look like? You are now future pacing. You're now visualizing. You are now using mental rehearsal of what your trading day is going to look like. So my trading day, I know I do my game planning 7 p.m. at night. I review my game planning the next day. The market opens. I have my watch list set up. I have my game plan set up. And I just sit back and now I'm looking for entries because everything is scripted out. I hope you can get to that point. Now let's go to the last one. And this is an important one. Let's remember why we're trading in the first place. What does that mean for your personal life? How will your personal life change when that happens? So let's think about it. You logged in at 7:30 in the morning to be here with me. Can't tell you how much I appreciate that. It means everything to me. But for me, that's one thing. For you, it means something else. You're here watching this replay. You're here at 7:30 in the morning watching the live stream, which I can't tell you how much I appreciate. But it's telling you that you really want this to happen. It's telling you that you're spending the time learning because you want to be higher. You want to be somewhere else. You want to be elevated in both your personal life and all the choices that you have in your personal life. Go crazy. Use the phrase that I use all the time, and it's called imagine if. Imagine if this happens. Imagine if I start making $10,000 a month. Imagine if my trading account goes from $10,000 to $15,000 to $25,000. Imagine if I start bringing in an extra $7,000 a month on the side from my trading while I have my full-time job and my pension. Imagine if what that would mean for me. What does that mean for you? Give yourself motivation of something to move towards. So everything we just covered is what we're going to discuss on the call tonight. But here's what I want to ask you to do. I'm actually going to break this down, and I'm going to pull up the screen again one more time. And I want to pay everybody back here who's watching this video. I don't know if there's any other way to say it. So first is our trading plan template. There is absolutely no cost to this. You simply need to get in there and download it. It has everything you possibly need about setting up your trading plan. Okay. There's videos, there's motivation. It's really a step-by-step template. Okay. So I want to be clear. There's no cost to this. I'm just providing the link. I'll put it below the description if you happen to be watching this video later. But I want to take this a step further. Obviously, I'm doing this with my private community tonight, people that are in our boot camp, our Order Flow Pro, people who are in our Mastery Collective, people that are in our Swing Trade Tracker program. However, I want to do the same for you. I'm going to schedule a separate meeting with you here on YouTube, and I'm going to answer your questions provided that you supply them. So here's what I want to ask you to do. We've provided this same spreadsheet. It's a little bit different. It's not in the forum. This is a Google document, a Google form, where we have the same questions on here. Okay. Everything that we just talked about that I'm going to review with my private community tonight. So what I'd like to do is, again, one of the biggest things that I talk about in my community is I want to help you personally. And the only way for you to do that is to participate. So in the description below this video is a link to this form, to this form over here. If you participate and provide answers that are as detailed as possible, where you opened the wound, where you wrote out in a lot of detail what you need to change, what absolutely didn't work, how you plan to do things differently, what's going to start to become your personal trading plan. I will record a new video of everybody's answers and then post it up here for everybody to learn from each other. If you do that, I promise I will make that video. We'll get that done before the end of the year. So this is my way of giving back for the end of this year. I am so grateful that you're here with me and spending time. We're approaching 19,000 subscribers. I'm so humbled by this. So I want to pay back. Everybody here is on social media watching these videos, whether you're watching it live with me at 7:30 in the morning, which I hope you do, or if you're watching the video. In the description below, you'll see this form. And the longer the questions, the more time, the longer the answers, the more time I'm going to spend on your problem. If you just write in 1 or 2 word answers, I'm going to kind of go past that because that means that you didn't put the effort in. The more effort you put into this, the more effort I will put into answering. And I don't care if that video ends up being a 3-hour video where we have to go through everybody's questions. So I'm going to leave this up between now, which is Wednesday, December 22nd, and the end of this week. I will compile all of the answers. I'll put them into a separate document, and we'll answer the questions one by one. I'm not going to, obviously, I'm not, if you want. No, you know what? Between now and Sunday, because I want to see some urgency. Between now and Sunday, then I'll take it down. I'll compile all of them. And then next week, we'll do a live stream covering as many of your problems, your goals, your dreams, all the things you want to accomplish. I will do my best to give you my 21 years of experience, helping you get to the point where you're in charge of the outcome. That's really the bottom line. All right. So we're actually going to end this call right now because we did a deep dive into Tesla. We talked about 2 different types of trades in Tesla, gave you a link for the trading plan template, and we took it further. Click the link below, fill out the form. I'm just giving everybody a promise right now. 1 or 2 word answers will not be answered. I want to see that you really care. And if you want my time, I want you to put your time into it. So fill out the answers in as much detail as possible. And I promise you, I will answer that in an upcoming video. All right. So I'm going to leave this form up. Click the link below in the description. Post your answers to those 4 questions. All 4 of them. Have to answer all 4 of them to get the reply. And let me know how important it is to you by giving me answers in as much detail as possible. And I promise you, I will reply on video in as much detail as possible. All right. I have to head out of here. We got to get ready for our other meeting. Have an awesome day, everybody. I want you to know how much I appreciate that you're here with me. Click the link below in the description to get that form. Fill out the form sometime between now and Sunday. Then I'm taking it down. If you want my personal help and you want to be in that video, absolutely do it. If you're finding some value in these videos, please do me a favor. Smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and you'll get updates as well. Have an awesome day, everybody. I really appreciate it.